As a follow-up to our previous video, we have to do this comparison between the new Martin 000 E Retro Plus versus the revised version of Yamaha's very popular Red Label FSX5. Stick around. Hey, you're watching Alamo Music TV. My name is Chris McKee with Alamo Music in San Antonio, Texas. You can find us online at alamomusic.com. If you're new to the channel, subscribe, turn on notifications, like our videos, share them with your friends. If you want to support the channel, you can visit our spring store. Link below for custom swag, and check out our podcast, the Fretboard Confessional, wherever you get your podcasts at. So we did a version of this comparison with the Dreadnoughts, the FGX5 Red Label versus the new DE Retro Plus. So the D version and the 000 version were launched this year at the NAMM show by Martin. They are made in Mexico, and they feature really kind of the top end of what's available in that lineup from that factory, with a lot of appointments that would typically not be available in the U.S. line until you hit about $4,000 roughly. We're talking about, of course, all solid wood construction, torrefied tops, things like that. Now, it competes against this, which has a very similar feature set from Yamaha, and it is the long popular Red Label. We love them. We've loved them since they were introduced. They recently were revised with gloss finishes on the body, but everything else remains intact. Torrefied spruce top, mahogany back and sides with a hard shell case, Atmos feel, pickup system in there, and typical Yamaha construction and excellence. So we've been big fans of this guitar, and when I saw the specifications for the Retro Pluses, I was excited about what was being offered. What's happening, generally speaking, is guitars are getting more expensive. So when a manufacturer can bring something in with additional features under a certain price point, you know it's going to be popular. In this particular case, under $2,000, gets you a guitar with torrefaction, good bracing, all solid wood construction from one of the premier builders in the world of guitars. Now, there are some trade-offs with both of these guitars, and it is interesting. We talked about this in the last video, Cooper and I, about the fact that this is made in Japan, this is made in Mexico. Japan is typically seen as a more premium country for guitar manufacturing than Mexico is. Mexico is seen, and really is, by both of these manufacturers, Taylor and Martin, that have factories down there, and Fender for that matter, the place in North America to build a more affordable guitar. So there you go. Whereas the Japanese guitar that I'm holding over here is, same country of origin as the FS9M, which is a over $4,000 guitar. In comparison, that would be like looking at a 0018 versus like a D41 from Martin. So that does complicate things a little bit, but other than that, they're similar in price and they're similar in features. So I'm going to make it really easy. There's some trade-offs that I would do with these two guitars, given how close they are in price and close they are in construction. The Yamaha has a better pickup, period. The Martin comes with Martin's E1 electronics. It's very similar to a Fishman electronics, but it is Martin branded. You get a tuner in the sound hole, you get an undersaddle pickup, and very basic tone and volume controls. You also get access to the battery down below. Now, with this one, you get access to the battery. They're double A's instead of 9-volt. You get controls on the side. You get blending from microphone and the undersaddle pickup. So right there, you get more control and kind of a more natural sound since there's a microphone inside the guitar. Now, downside is you are stuck with this pickup. There's not really a way of retrofitting something else. If you don't like the atmosphere, oh well. With this one, because the controls are in the sound hole, you could effectively switch it out to something else without having to deal with controls on the side of the guitar. And I always think that's kind of beneficial if that's in your plan to possibly do at some later point. So right off the bat, pickup-wise, I would give it to Yamaha. Tuner-wise, I would give it to Martin. It's the one weak link, I think, on the gold label or on the red labels. I've said it before. I'll say it again. These are okay tuners. These are better tuners. They function better. They're Grovers, and I like the look of them better. The finishes are on par with one another. The construction seems to be on par. It's really hard to find anything, unless you're getting really nitpicky, that you'd call out. No glue blobs or anything that would typically indicate a rushed or poorly made guitar. And as you'll hear in the demo, I think that they're both very resonant, but there's a different response between these two guitars, which is probably going to be surprising for some. So let's take a listen to how these two guitars sound, and we'll talk about some more stuff on the other end. All right, so there you have it. Form your opinions now. Put in the comments below. 1, 2, 3. All right, it's my turn. I think that these guitars sound very different from one another, and surprisingly, the Yamaha actually sounds maybe a little bit more vintage sounding than the Martin does. The Martin has more articulation to my ear and a little bit more resonance on the high end of it, whereas this kind of has a thicker mid-range sound to it. Both are very, very nice, and both have a pretty resonant response. For a small body guitar like this, I use finger picking on them because that's typically how I'd approach that, but they both handle strumming and flat picking pretty well also. Now, price-wise, pretty close. This, you get a bag. This, you get a hard shell case. This one's made in Mexico. This one's made in Japan. This one has okay electronics. This one has better electronics. And then they sound different. It really comes down, it's kind of a tough choice. Let's talk about setup. They're both set up perfectly fine out of the factory. The necks are both fairly medium-sized. I think there's a little bit more of a D shape to the Yamaha. Or actually, I'm sorry, maybe more of a deeper C shape. Whereas this kind of has a very, 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 very soft V. And what I mean by that is the shoulders on the back of the Martin kind of fall off a little bit more than compared to the roundness of the Yamaha. Both are very comfortable. I will say the finish on the Yamaha feels a little bit better, and I don't know if that's the finish as much as it is the wood choice maybe for the neck. I'm going to go with both. I think there's more grain feel on the back of the Yamaha neck. The back of the Martin neck than on the back of the Yamaha. The Yamaha neck feels smoother where you're not feeling the wood grain of the neck. The finish is probably just thinner on the Martin, and so you do kind of feel what translates as a little bit of roughness in the very middle part of the back of the neck. So, again, nitpicky, but there you go. Very different in aesthetic choice. You know, the ebony bridge and fingerboard that is used on the Martin is very colorful, and a lot of people really like that, but also a lot of people really don't. If you compare that over here to the Yamaha, it's more of a darker black appearance that's going on. So you might have a preference from that choice. Other than that, they're both great guitars for the money. Sub $2,000, the fact that you're getting torque-faction, scalloped bracing, solid wood construction, a pickup, and a case or bag, I think we're moving in the right direction. But I'd love to hear from you. One, do you care about the country of origin in this particular case? Or since neither is made in the U.S., do you put it on par with one another? That'd be an interesting thing to hear. Two, sound-wise, which did you prefer? Aesthetic-wise, which did you prefer? And does it bother you that this has a bag versus this having a case? You know, those are all things to consider when you're looking at buying a guitar, because cases are expensive, but bags are kind of convenient. Sometimes I can go either way. So let us know in the comments below what you think. If you're new to our channel, you like comparisons, reviews, and just general guitar talk, make sure that you subscribe, turn on notifications, like our videos, keep coming back for more. I'll see you next time.